Now, this first trumpet, the morning of the third day, according to Hosea the prophet, chapter 6, verse 2, is for Israel to meet the Lord. And some believe that this is because 1,000 years for us is as one day to the Lord, that on the third day, the morning, the beginning of the third 1,000th year, very possible because it all fits with the typology. See, from the beginning to the present has been approximately 6,000 years. That's been 6 days to the Lord, because a day of the Lord is like 1,000 years for us. So this is the first mention of the first trumpet, and it's for Israel. The last trumpet is for us. And it's very clear. The scriptures are explicitly clear. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 51 and 52. The Apostle Paul to the church in Corinth is talking about the rapture of the church of Jesus Christ. And he says, "Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead in Christ," this is a bodily resurrection, "shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed." Now again, this is where the mid-tribbers, the pre-wrathers, the no-rapture believers, I don't know what you want to call them, pre-mid, post-toasty, whatever you call them. But this last trumpet is not the seventh trump in Revelation 10:7 at the middle of the tribulation, but this is the trumpet of Revelation chapter 4, verse 1, which we're going to see here shortly, and it happens at the beginning of the 7-year tribulation. I must tell you that tonight, we're not only going to learn about the rapture, we are going to also learn why the rapture has to take place before the 7-year tribulation, and why that matters. Why that matters. It is vital. I cannot overstate this. It is absolutely crucial that we as the church know that the rapture of the church happens before the 7-year tribulation. Okay, I feel better now. I had to get that off my chest. Let me just draw your attention to Revelation chapter 4, verse 1. Again, this will come into clearer focus here in a moment. "After this, I," John is speaking, "looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven, and the voice I had first heard speaking to me like a" what? "Trumpet said, 'Come up hither.'" Come up here. John is raptured up to heaven. Did you know that in everything from Revelation chapter 4, verse 1 on through to Revelation chapter 22 is yet future? Again, this is exciting, and I can't wait till we get to this in a moment. A couple hours at least we'll be there, so just hang tight. Now, you've got trumpet of angels and trumpet of God. Two trumpets. The trumpet of angels is for Israel. Matthew chapter 24, verses 20 through 22 and verse 31. Listen, Jesus says, "But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day." He's speaking to the disciples. He's speaking about the Jews. The church certainly does not worry about travel arrangements on the Sabbath. "On the Sabbath day, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake." Who's the elect? Israel. I thought the church was the elect. Well, yes and no. In the context of what Jesus is saying here, he is not speaking to the church. He's speaking to the Jews. "But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather," there's your convocation, "together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." This is the last trumpet. It's of angels for Israel, God's elect, and it happens at the end of the tribulation, when the whole house of Israel comes to salvation, which is the purpose of the tribulation for them as the Jewish nation. Okay. Now, the trumpet of God is for us. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 16 and 17, my favorite verse in all the Bible. I know I say that about all the verses, but this one really for sure is. The Apostle Paul to the Thessalonian church in the context of the rapture is wanting to encourage them, and he says to them, chapter 4, verse 16, "For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God. And the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up." Hang on to that word for just a second, caught those two words. "Together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will be with the Lord forever." Okay. You know when somebody says to you, "Well, the word rapture isn't even in the Bible." And they say it just like that. You just want to, do something. I don't know what. You have an answer for them. Well, that depends, my dear friend. Because if you have a Latin Bible, then the word rapture is there. It's a transliteration of the Latin Vulgate rapturus, where since there's not really a word, we just sort of, instead of translate it, we transliterate it to rapture, or to be caught up. In the Greek, it's harpazo, which makes me very glad that they chose rapture, because harpazo just doesn't do it for me. It seems slow, doesn't it? Rapture is one of those words that just says, rapture us away. Harpazo seems so slow. So I like rapture. And plus, you'd have to change all your bumper stickers if it was harpazo. Anyway. So that word caught up is two English words that are used from the New Testament Greek to translate harpazo, which in the original Latin Vulgate is rapturus, rapture, which means to be caught up with great force. So the next time somebody says that, say, okay, and pull out your Latin Bible. You can get them on Amazon. You can't read it, but you can read that verse and that word and point it to. No, right here. Take that. Okay. Two trumpets. The first trumpet for Israel, the last trumpet for the church. The trumpet of angels for Israel, the trumpet of God for the church. Okay, so both trumpets were to gather God's people. What is the trumpet for Israel going to gather God's people for? I mean, we know what the trumpet for us is going to gather us for. It's going to assemble us, a holy convocation, to meet the Lord when he catches us up and we meet him in the air. But did you know that the trumpet call could signal a wedding, or it could signal a war? Now, this again is germane to our understanding. Now, if you go into the ancient Jewish bridal customs, you will find a beautiful picture painted on the canvas of the relationship that we have between us as the bride and Jesus Christ as the bridegroom. Do you know that in every instance when Jesus talked about the church and going to prepare a place, that he was speaking as a groom to his bride? Even the communion celebration, which is the Passover celebration, was a part of the ancient Jewish bridal customs. Now, I'm going to go through these. We'll move as quickly as we can. I'll try not to talk too fast.